Well, it's the 250 class, the class we've been waiting for, Cameron. It's heat number 1. The 30 board is to the sideways, and look at that stacked field.
Unbelievable. Jeremy McGrath being seated first. There was no qualifying, so here in the first spot.
And look
who's
at
it going to be?
To the front of the pack.
Trying to get a number there. It looks like lucky Kyle Lewis of Team Moto XXX getting the whole shot. And then a 965 running their second. Todd amazing. Two riders you may not have expected to go right to the front. Kyle Lewis said today he's feeling great.
I got so excited because Jeremy McGrath was right in the mix there. And at the very end, Kyle Lucky Lewis slid in front of him. So it's 23 Lewis in first place. And McGrath is moving on up. McGrath currently sitting in third, comes up short right there. To the inside goes Heath Voss running the 13.
And the rider there, that's the 259. He was the fastest rider in practice. Amazing. Doing the triples, both of them actually in the mud. We'll see if he can do that here in this heat race.
Unbelievable. Look at this. McGrath to the lead. He gets by Kyle Lewis, and it is Jeremy McGrath in a triumphant return. Goes to the front of the pack here at 250. Heat number 1 comes up short hard.
Well, he decided not to go for that double jump there at the end. He decided to hold off. And, oh, James Stewart just getting up from a crash. So the mud, unbelievably tough to ride in. McGrath not doing that double jump and not costing him a position. The place is going absolutely nuts. The king, the 7-time Supercross champ, who's in front.
And in the midst of all that, we forget about James Stewart. He gets tangled up in the back of the pack, goes down, something we haven't seen in a long time. We'll see if James can work his magic, but right now the magic is showtime, and Jeremy McGrath out in front.
Well, Jeremy, when I spoke to him yesterday, he kind of laughed. I said, Jeremy, are you thinking that maybe it would have been a better time to come back at Phoenix where they have a covered stadium? And he just laughed. He goes, you know what? I don't ride much in the rain. I ride after it rains. It gets good. But I just don't spend too much time in the mud. But I'm going to race at Anaheim. I'm looking forward to it.
James Stewart is in a battle for 4th place right now. James Stewart Jr. making his debut in the 250 class, and this is not a lap that he's going to remember for a long time. It has been a disaster for him.
Well, James got into these sand whoops, started going real hard and getting past Heath Voss. He gets tangled up at the end, comes across Voss, knocks him down, and almost gets run over by another rider there. But good news for James is he's all right and, well, still able to do the finish line double jump.
James Stewart currently running in 4th place behind your leader, Jeremy McGrath, Kyle Lewis, and Heath Voss running 1, 2, and 3. He picks off Voss. So it is James Stewart on the move. Stewart in 3rd, and now he's got Kyle Lewis in his sights, and just ahead of him is Jeremy McGrath. And it looks like James wants to come out of here with nothing less than a victory.
Well, James definitely, he may be the most amazing rider ever to get on a dirt bike, but the thing everybody's been talking about is that he's willing to risk it so much that might catch up with him. We saw him crash once, going faster than anybody else. He has the fastest lap times in practice, does the triples first. So James just has to be a little bit careful. He already knows that he's fast and that he can pass Kyle Lewis. He just has to pick the right spot and not get himself in any trouble.
Once again, another bike that is bogged down in that same area where we saw a rider go down earlier in the 125 class. It is stuck, and they're going to leave it there throughout. James Stewart continues to work on Kyle Lewis, number 23, the man who picked up the whole shot. Your leader, Jeremy McGrath, making his return to Supercross on board the Honda. And here comes James to the inside, picks the line, and moves into 2nd place.
How is his work of the whoop section? He's doing it just like a normal whoop section. Remember, the bike has
McGrath has gone down to the finish line. They're going to have to yellow flag James, so James Stewart goes to the lead, and Jeremy in a very precarious situation right now at the bottom of that hill. Cameron, he is almost dead in the waters. 4 riders go by him. When we come back, we'll show you exactly what happened to Showtime. We'll be back to Anaheim, Angel Stadium, for more of 250 when we come back, including that amazing wipeout by Jeremy McGrath. Stay with us. Scooters. Welcome back to Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. It's the THQ AMA Supercross Series, and your leader right now is James Bubba Stewart Jr., number 259, was back as far as 9th place on on the opening lap. He has worked his way up. We saw Jeremy McGrath in the lead for 2 laps, and then he had his problems on the finish line. And Cameron, here's where it all went wrong for the King, Jeremy McGrath, with James Stewart closing in.
Well, Jeremy here making a line. He goes down in the middle, not a lot of run. He could have got a little more from the back to go for that double jump. He pulls up, lands on the face just a little bit, tries to keep it running, but the mud slides him around. So MC having to pick up his bike to number 2, and he's still in a qualifying position, I believe. To take a look at the stats, 8 riders will move on to the main event in this abbreviated series, or this abbreviated evening, because there are no semifinals.
So your leader is James Stewart as we move up on one of the last laps. We're going 6 laps, and James is on number 5. It's tough to pick out with all the mud out there, but there he is on the left side of your screen working his way through. It is Stewart, Lewis, and Balby right now, currently sitting in 3rd place, the 965 bike, who had a great start, Antonio Jorge Balby. And there is Kyle Lewis is number 23, Mike LaRocco, the one having all the problems, and covered in mud.
Well, Mike LaRocco's been around as long as basically anybody out there, and he is smart and knows that he only needs to get the top 8 to get to the main event, but he wouldn't mind passing up to get a better gate pick. He won last year in Indianapolis on his birthday weekend. I'm sure he wouldn't mind taking another win here. I mean, a lot of people say the rain, the mud is a great equalizer. Kyle Lewis, who has had his share of bad luck last year, a very tough year for Kyle Lewis, nearly, a near-death experience in a hospital in Europe, punctured a lung, ripped his shoulder apart. He's back healthy, looks great, about 20 pounds down from last year. He is in fighting weight.
So Kyle Lewis sits in a transfer position, currently in 2nd, but your leader is James Stewart Jr. An amazing ride in very difficult conditions. He is the current leader. Took over from Jeremy McGrath when he had his problems at the start-finish line. But James is on the final lap as we look at Kyle Lewis continue to motor around. He picked up the whole shot here in 250 heat number 1 and has been pretty consistent throughout. Mike LaRocco, meanwhile, has had to battle his way up, and now he currently sits in 3rd place. Kyle
Lewis told me earlier in the evening, he said, "You will not believe how fast my bike is. It is ridiculous." You may not be able to see it here in the mud, but when we get to Phoenix, I'm going to be getting hole shot after hole shot, he's claiming. And tonight, another hole shot. Kyle Lewis knows how to do it. Again, these two guys, veterans, battling it out. It almost looks like it's in slow motion for Supercross.
Yeah, we talk about the lap times, and they're well over a minute, minute 10, close to a minute 15, and that is not where normally seen out of these guys. The conditions are very difficult, very challenging. Just keeping the bike up and running is all they can do right now as Kyle Lewis comes through, and he is on the white flag lap as they go through lap 7 of 8. But your leader is James Stewart Jr., number 259, on board the Kawasaki. We talked to him yesterday a little bit about the conditions. He said he didn't care. He just wanted to be out here and running. There you see 23. That's Kyle Lewis having a nice battle with Mike LaRocco. LaRocco just moving past.
23 going all the way off course, coming back. That's Kyle Lewis, of course. And Kyle Lewis won his first 125 Supercross when James Stewart was 2 years old.
Look at it one more time. There's Kyle Lewis. Watch this.
Yeah, you see him wedging there, going up that face, Todd. The wheel turned a bit, kept his momentum going, goes off the track. People running for cover out there.
And there is the white flag for James Stewart Jr. Bubba is out in force, and he's such a talented rider. There you see the lap time of 1:14.11, Cameron. Not a stellar time, but with these conditions, he's getting the most out of his bike, the most out of the track, finding the lines that are passable.
Well, as the track breaks down, the lap times will probably get a little bit slower. We'll see if we can do any course maintenance before they get to the main event. But James Stewart definitely does look good. And, it looks like he stalled his motorcycle.
With a half a lap to go, James stalls out momentarily, bumps it over, and he's back up and running again. Now, that's the section during practice when it was rain, just after they took the plastic off, and he was able to triple. But I think wisely here, he has chosen just to roll through here with just a half a lap to go, take his qualifying position, Cameron, and get back to the motorhome and get cleaned up.
Well, the one thing you may see there, too, James Stewart stalling the motorcycle, it could be because he's not using the clutch as much as he normally would. That's one thing that really breaks down in the mud in these conditions. If you really use a lot of the clutch, what the riders say they want to do, and the mechanics say they want the rider to ride down a gear and rev it higher. Keep the bike going. Don't shift up and fan the clutch. So maybe James just not using the clutch there, the bike being heavier with all the mud accumulated on it. At this point, probably a good 25 to 30 pounds of extra weight there.
His mechanic, one of the best in the business, Jeremy Albrecht, will be on that bike momentarily as the checkered flag comes out for your winner in the 250 class. James Bubba Stewart Jr. picks up the victory. What a way to welcome him to the 250 class. He goes out and picks up his heat win right off the bat. And Cameron, we saw that graphic momentarily. He was back in 7th position, started 16th, and here he is coming back to fight all the way to pick up the win. Nice statement, James. As we take a look at our GameStop 250 heat number 1 results, mark it down, folks. I was there when James Stewart won his first heat race. It's number 259 with the win. He's standing by with Jamie Little.
All right, James Bubba Stewart answering a lot of questions, comes out here. You had your issues, but you put down and you got your first win. James, what's going through your mind right now?
Actually, that heat race was horrible. I didn't answer any questions besides, yeah, I can come back from the back. It's a horrible race. I got a good, awesome jump off the start, and it's raining out here. My hand slipped off when I went to go shift, and then my hand slipped off again, and I stalled it, and same thing again, and a whoops, and I fell, so.
What happened out there when you first went down?
I was an idiot. I don't know what happened. Next thing I know, like, I'm picking myself up, and I'm like, God, dude, what's up? Feels like the old days, 2002. Hey, with all that, I want a heat race. That was the coolest part.
James Bubba Stewart, we'll see him in the main event and see if he can do it again. Todd?